Have you ever felt like you're stuck in a loop, hitting the same invisible walls over and over again? Maybe it's in your relationships, your career, or just with your own self-confidence. That feeling like you're running on a treadmill, trying so hard to change course, but ending up in the exact same spot. What if I told you it's not bad luck, and it's not that the world is out to get you? It's an invisible filter inside your own mind. And in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly how it works, and more importantly, how to take back the controls. This isn't about just thinking positive or wishing your problems away. This is about getting under the hood and understanding the psychological engine that's actively shaping your reality every single second. Your beliefs aren't just quiet ideas you have. They are the architects of the world you experience. They're the lens you see everything through. And today, we're going to learn how to clean that lens. So what is this filter? In psychology, it's a powerful cognitive shortcut called confirmation bias. Simply put, it's our natural tendency to notice, favor, and remember information that confirms what we already believe. And it's not a character flaw. It's a feature of your brain's operating system designed for one main purpose: efficiency. Think about it. Your brain is swimming in an ocean of sensory data every moment, but only a tiny fraction of that ever reaches your conscious mind. To handle all that information without short-circuiting, your brain takes shortcuts. It has to decide what's important and what's junk, and it uses your existing beliefs as the bouncer at the door. If you believe something is true, your brain flags all related info as VIP and sends it to the front of the line. Everything else? It gets ignored or tossed aside. This filtering happens in three sneaky ways. First, you have a biased search for information. When you hold a belief, you unconsciously look for proof that you're right. If you believe you're awful at public speaking, you're not Googling how to become a confident speaker. You're clicking on videos of epic presentation fails, which just reinforces your fear. Second, you have a biased interpretation of information. This is where the filter really starts to bend reality. Even when you're looking at neutral, objective facts, you'll twist them to fit your narrative. A simple comment from your boss like, "Hey, I need that report by 5, can land in two totally different ways. If you believe your boss values you, you hear a simple request. But if you believe your boss thinks you're incompetent, you hear, "I don't trust you to get this done on time." The evidence is the same. The filter is what changes its meaning. And third, your memory plays favorites. Your brain doesn't store memories like a perfect video recording. It rebuilds them. And when it does, it tends to shine a spotlight on the moments that align with what you currently believe. If you think a certain political party is a disaster, you'll easily recall their scandals while conveniently forgetting any of their accomplishments. Your memory becomes a highlight reel for your own opinions. But why does our brain fight so hard to protect our beliefs, even when they're holding us back? It's not just about mental laziness. There are a couple of deep psychological reasons. One is to avoid cognitive dissonance. That's the intense mental static you feel when you hold two conflicting ideas at once, or when new information clashes with an old belief. It feels messy and stressful. To get back to a sense of order, the easiest thing for your brain to do is reject the new, challenging information. It's a psychological defense mechanism. It's just less work to bat away new data than to rebuild a core part of your identity. Another driver is protecting your ego. Let's be real. Being wrong doesn't feel good. It can feel like a threat to our sense of self, our intelligence. If you've invested years in a certain career, it's painful to think it might have been the wrong move. So your filter works to protect you from that pain by screening out contradictory evidence, preserving your self-image as someone who makes smart choices. Over time, this creates a dangerous feedback loop. As your filter cherry-picks confirming evidence, you become more and more sure that your beliefs are 100% correct. This is called overconfidence. You feel like you've got a mountain of proof, but you're actually just living in a self-made echo chamber, totally blind to the mountain of evidence you've been ignoring. This all leads to the final, most stubborn stage, belief perseverance. This is when a belief hangs on for dear life, even after the evidence that created it is proven to be completely false. In a classic study, participants were given feedback on their ability to identify real and fake suicide notes, but the feedback was totally random. Later, the researchers confessed that the feedback was meaningless. Yet, the participants continued to believe they were either good or bad at the task, based on that initial fake information. Their belief had detached from the evidence and taken on a life of its own. Your beliefs aren't just sitting in your head. They are an active, powerful filter that dictates what you see, what you interpret, and what you remember. They are the invisible architect of your personal reality. Now let's look at where this filter is showing up in your life and the damage it's doing. Understanding the theory is one thing, but seeing this filter in the wild is the real wake-up call. This isn't some abstract concept. It's actively shaping your relationships, your career, and how you see yourself every single day. Let's break it down. Ever known someone who ends up in the same bad relationship over and over? Or maybe you felt it yourself. That recurring pattern of disappointment or rejection that seems to follow you, no matter who you're with. This is often the reality filter at its most destructive. Let's say you have a deep, maybe even unconscious belief that says, "I'm not really lovable." Once that's programmed in, your filter gets to work, scanning every interaction for proof. Your partner has a stressful day and is a little quiet. An unfiltered mind might think, "They seem stressed, I should see if they're okay." But your filtered mind translates their silence as rejection. "See, they're pulling away." They forget to text back for a few hours, a totally neutral event. But your filter flags it as more proof. "See, I'm not a priority, they don't really care." Even when they give you a compliment, your filter goes on the defensive. You immediately start to scrutinize this contradictory information, thinking, "They're just saying that to be nice, they don't really mean it." The positive evidence is cross-examined and dismissed, while the ambiguous stuff is accepted as fact. Over time, this becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Because you believe you're unlovable, you start acting in ways that are hard to be around. You might get needy, constantly asking for reassurance. Or you become defensive, starting fights to test their love. Eventually, your partner gets exhausted and actually does pull away. And in that moment, your filter screams, "See, I told you so." The filter doesn't just show you a distorted reality, it helps create it. All right, let's talk about work and money. Your beliefs here act like a governor on an engine. They set a limit on how far you can go. If you have a core belief like, "I'm just not a money person," or "people like me don't get big promotions," your filter will work day and night to make that true. Imagine a new high-stakes project is announced at your job. It's a huge opportunity, but your belief, "I'm not cut out for leadership," immediately kicks in. You don't see an opportunity, you see a threat. You focus on all the ways you could fail, all the experience you don't have. While your coworker sees a chance to shine, you see a chance to be exposed as a fraud. You don't even bother applying. Your filter didn't just interpret reality, it stopped you from even taking part. It's the same with money. If you believe financial success is for other people, your brain will actively scroll past information about investing, salary negotiation, or starting a side hustle. It dismisses it as "not for you" before you even read the headline. When a friend talks about their stock portfolio, you don't feel inspired. You feel a pang of confirmation that you're being left behind, just as you expected. This is especially sneaky during things like performance reviews. If a manager believes an employee is a star, they will naturally remember all their successes and downplay their mistakes. But if they believe an employee is a slacker, they will disproportionately recall the one time they were late and forget the 10 times they stayed after hours. Their biased memory feels like an objective fact. It's a structural barrier to growth, all powered by a simple belief. This is maybe the most personal one, the filter that shapes your identity. Beliefs like, "I'm socially awkward," "I have no discipline," or "I'm unattractive," create a prison of perception that is incredibly hard to break out of. This is sometimes called a mental filter, where you fixate on a single negative detail until it blots out everything else, like one drop of ink clouding a whole glass of water. Let's say you believe you're socially awkward. You go to a party. Your filter is on high alert, hunting for evidence. You have 10 perfectly pleasant, easy conversations. Then you have one slightly stilted, weird exchange. Which one do you think you'll be replaying in your head for the next 3 days? The awkward one. Your filter magnifies that single moment until it becomes the entire story of the night. The 10 positive interactions are written off as flukes, but the one negative one is held up as definitive proof of your awkwardness. This is a classic cognitive distortion, where one detail taken out of context becomes the whole conclusion. Over time, this just grinds down your self-esteem. By constantly ignoring evidence of your strengths and obsessing over perceived flaws, you just keep reinforcing the belief that you're not good enough. And why would you try new things when your filter has already convinced you that you're just going to fail? In all three cases, the pattern is the same. A belief is formed, a filter is switched on, evidence is cherry-picked, and your reality is warped to match the original belief. The prison isn't the world around you, the prison is the filter. But the good news? You hold the key. So, we've established that your brain is running a program that filters reality for you. It's an efficient but flawed system that can keep you stuck. The question is, what do you do about it? Just knowing about confirmation bias is a good start, but let's be honest. Awareness alone is rarely enough to override a process this automatic. To really change, you need a deliberate, hands-on strategy. You need to actively practice thinking about your thinking. Let's call it the three-step reality recalibration. Your brain's default setting is to find proof that you're right. Your job is to manually override that. This means making a conscious effort to find evidence that proves you wrong. I know, it feels weird and uncomfortable, but it's the most powerful way to fight back against your natural bias. So what does this look like? Let's go back to the belief, I'm socially awkward. The next time you're at an event, your mission changes. You are now a detective, and your only job is to find one piece of evidence that contradicts your belief. Did someone smile at you? Did you have a conversation that lasted more than 30 seconds? Did you ask someone a question? Write it down. This is called positive data logging. By intentionally collecting this data, you're manually overriding the filter that would normally just throw it away. If you believe, I'm bad with money, your new mission is to find evidence to the contrary. Force yourself to read one article about a simple investing strategy. Ask one money-savvy friend for a single small tip. Celebrate the tiny financial wins, like paying your bills on time or skipping an impulse buy. You're building a new evidence file that your brain can't ignore. A powerful technique here is to literally argue against yourself. Take a belief you hold strongly and force yourself to write down 3 to 5 good points for the opposite argument. This forces you out of your echo chamber and makes you engage with the data you've been filtering out. You don't have to change your mind, but you do have to honestly look at the other side. Confirmation bias loves speed. It wins when we jump to the first, easiest conclusion. Your second step is to intentionally slow down and resist the urge to decide what something means right away. Instead of instantly settling on an interpretation, treat every situation like you're an investigator, gathering facts. Let's say your boss walks past your desk without saying good morning. Your filter immediately serves up the conclusion, she's mad at me. Don't take the bait. Pause. Instead of accepting that first story, force yourself to use what we can call the rule of 3. It's a simple mental model. For any event, come up with at least 3 possible explanations. She's mad at me for what I said in yesterday's meeting. She was rushing to a meeting and was completely lost in her own thoughts. She slept terribly, had a rough morning at home, and is just in a bad mood that has absolutely nothing to do with me. By simply generating these alternative stories, you've broken the filter's spell. You've introduced reasonable doubt. You've gone from a negative certainty to a range of possibilities. You are no longer a victim of your automatic interpretation. You're an investigator weighing different scenarios. Your filter operates best when you're alone in your own head. To really recalibrate it, you need to bring in outside forces, systems, and other people. First, practice self-reflection through journaling. At the end of the day, spend 5 minutes writing about a moment that triggered a strong emotion. Write down what happened, your immediate interpretation, and then perform the rule of 3 on paper. Documenting your thought patterns helps you spot your biases over time. It's like watching game film of your own mind. Second, seek out dissent. Your filter loves it when you surround yourself with people who just nod and agree. You need to intentionally find a devil's advocate, a trusted friend or mentor who you know will challenge your thinking. When you're making a big decision, don't just ask, "Is this a good idea?" Ask a trusted friend, "Tell me all the reasons this is a terrible idea. What am I missing?" By framing the question that way, you give them permission to give you the raw, unfiltered feedback you actually need. Finally, diversify your information diet. If all your news comes from one channel or all your career advice from one guru, you're building your own echo chamber. Intentionally read articles from sources you disagree with. Follow experts on social media with different points of view. You're not trying to be converted, you're trying to understand. By widening your inputs, you make it much harder for your filter to operate on incomplete, one-sided data. All right, we've gone deep into the mechanics of the mind today. We've seen how your own beliefs, the ideas that make up who you are also acting as an invisible filter, tweaking every bit of information you get. This filter wants to keep your world stable and predictable, but it comes at a huge cost. It limits your reality. It keeps you stuck in old stories, confirming your worst fears while hiding your best opportunities. But here's the most important thing to take away from all this. You are not your filter. Understanding how this all works is the first, most critical step to taking back control. You now have the owner's manual. You know your brain is wired to seek confirmation, avoid conflict, and protect your ego. The work now is to consciously choose a different path. It's the choice to seek out challenge instead of comfort. It's the choice to ask, "But what if I'm wrong?" It's the choice to value truth more than the temporary satisfaction of being right. Every time you seek out a contradictory fact, every time you pause to consider another explanation, every time you bravely ask someone to challenge you, you're cleaning your filter. You are expanding your world. The reality you experience isn't fixed. It's a reflection of the beliefs you hold and the evidence you let in. When you change your filter, you change your world. The opportunities that seemed impossible suddenly appear. The person you thought you were gives way to the person you could still become. The power to define your reality is, and always has been, yours. If this deep dive into the brain resonated with you, and you're ready to keep thinking sharper and living better, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. And I'd love to know, which of your own reality filters did this video bring to mind? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you want to understand another way your brain secretly controls your decisions, check out this video on the negativity bias right here. Thanks for watching.